All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Training, Learning, and Development community. Happy Friday to all of you out there. Let's see. Who do we have? Whoa, we have Trish is here. I only know because I see your picture. It doesn't look like some of the names in this version of Crowdcast is displaying, but let me see here. Let's see if it breaks it out a little bit more. Oh, yeah, there we go. Candy Sugarman. Let's see. We have other people that are registered as well. Kara Spray, Claudia, Cindy, Deborah Decker. Lots of people are registered for this one. And yeah, with good reason. Margie is back after after participating in our conference from a couple of weeks ago. We did the AI Labs, our first ever AI Labs with TLDC. Margie was a speaker there and did a wonderful job. It was just so fascinating participating in that event and learning about how other folks are using AI in our industry and sort of just even their comfort level with it. And Margie, you're particularly fascinating to me because you have your background in neuroscience. And then I remember early on you were getting into chatbots. Like, what is Margie up to? And then you ended up writing a book, AI in Talent Development. And that was a few years ago. That was 2020, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right in the middle of the pandemic. So a lot of people missed it.
Yeah. I mean, that was before ChatGPT and everything that is happening now. And now here are all these tools that are becoming a regular part of our workflow. And you've kind of been at it for a while. So it's great that you're taking the time to be a part of a showcase. And I know you wanted to talk about using generative AI to develop learning experiences, but I do want people to get to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
And I know we've spoken before, but
Yeah.
things that fascinate me about you is your struggles with learning when you started. Like, there is a whole story about that. So do you think you can talk about that, like your struggles with learning and how they shaped your career path?
Yeah, sure. Now, I didn't know it at the time. When I was a little girl, I was what would until very recently would have been called dyslexic. Now it's sort of talked about in terms of a broader spectrum of learning disabilities because they tend to all be connected. But it makes it very hard to read. And still, if I am, my brain does funny things, especially if I'm tired, because I am consciously telling it how to read. So in first grade, I couldn't learn how to read, and my teachers were wanting to hold me back. Hi there, Cindy. And my family resisted because the option was to put me in, and forgive me for this term, but at the time, this is what the teachers and experts used. They said she needs to be in a slow group. And they said, no, she's not slow. You need to figure this out. And they said, well, look, it's up to you. If she can read by the time the rest of her class, comes back, we'll keep her with her age group. Otherwise, we're going to have to hold her back. So all summer, my whole family, and I have 5 siblings, was trying to teach me to read with my parents. And it was my baby sister. She was about 3 at the time, and she had Dr. Seuss books. And she didn't read herself, but she had memorized them because we read them all to her so much. So she knew what was on every page, and she read to me. And she read over and over the same book, The Cat in the Hat. And finally, something just clicked with that repetition and looking at the words on the screen. And I started being able to read at that really basic level. And then I could, gradually improve. And it turned out, and this is often true with people with that same learning disability, that they're really very good students and very intelligent once they get the hang of it. So, and there's a lot of techniques now that are taught to people with those disabilities, and I had to kind of figure them out on my own, but thankfully I did with a lot of help from my family. And that got me interested at a really early age in the brain and how everybody's brain is different and how you can study that and get better at different things in life. So when neuroscience started to be a topic in learning and development back, about 15, 20 years ago now, I started paying attention, talking to neuroscientists. And in fact, that led to my first book, Brain Matters, which still does really well. And how do we connect that science to practical things that we can do to help people learn? Well, more recently, AI and neuroscience have been working together. So I was in a really fortunate position to jump into AI because I already understood what a neural network was, for
Yeah.
example, from studying the brain. And
Yes.
so applying that to an artificial brain, it's not much different and in many ways simpler. So the fact that those two fields converged and cooperate with each other really helped me see the potential early on for some of these tools. Like, for example, understanding why chatbots are so powerful for learning, because to your brain, it feels like another person.
Hmm.
Your brain has learned that digital images, like if we put someone who had never seen a computer before, and studies have been done, like people growing up in indigenous people, totally removed from technology, your image and mine, Louise, mean nothing to them.
Right.
They haven't learned how to interpret that as people yet. In
Hmm.
fact, they might even be frightened by it. But we've all learned that. And so our brains respond just like we're in the room together. We're having a social experience as well
Yeah.
as a factual one. And it does the same thing with a chatbot. Even without pictures, even if it's only text on a screen, because we've already learned that we can communicate with others with text on a screen. That's both what's so powerful and potentially so dangerous about AI, is that our brains are so ready and willing to accept any output that it gives us. And that's another whole topic that we really need to have, that I'm paying a lot of attention to, is the ethics and the implications, and how do
Yeah.
we as learning professionals educate our stakeholders about that and make smart decisions. Because if we don't do it, we can't necessarily trust other people, particularly not the vendors, to make
Right.
those decisions, because they've
It's
got a
true.
product to sell.
That's
Um,
interesting. Yeah,
yeah,
I was just reading the other day, because I'm somebody that likes to browse Reddit,
yeah,
and there is a subreddit for ChatGPT there, where there was this big conversation happening where there was somebody who was having some I guess maybe some emotional issues, some mental health issues earlier this year, and he was using ChatGPT to talk to help
yeah,
him get through some of this stuff, and it was really helping him. Like, he felt
yeah.
like he was actually able to he was talking to somebody that was helping him get through some of these issues. But he said over the last month or so, ChatGPT 4, maybe it's 4.5, I don't recall, but it's starting to degrade to a point where it's no longer as useful as it used to be for him.
Yeah.
And so I think that's fascinating, just from a brain perspective, that here was this artificial intelligence that was somewhat functioning as a therapist, and helping this individual. And
And that's exciting, isn't it? But
yeah,
and by the way, a lot of people are saying, hey, GPT-3 was a lot better
yeah,
than GPT 4.5.
yeah,
So, something's going on there with OpenAI, and they're working on it, I'm sure. But yeah, we want to jump right in and use these things,
right,
but there are risks. And because of that, what I really feel is our best opportunity right now is, let's keep an eye on all that stuff and wait for more evidence that they not only work, but they're safe.
yeah,
Because what if that artificial intelligence counselor gives some kind of advice that is not recommended, that is disturbing to that person?
yeah,
It could do more harm than good. But as productivity tools, they are amazing, particularly for the kind of work we do.
right, right,
And so that's really where I'm focusing my attention now, is let's take it for what they're good at and be
yeah,
aware of the weaknesses.
right,
And even for that, we have to be aware of hallucinations, right? You've all heard the term. The AI industry invented that, and I believe it was actually OpenAI, to explain away the mistakes. Well, they're mistakes.
yeah,
Sometimes they're just flat out falsehoods. So let's be aware that that can happen. What's happening right now is we have all these different AIs connected to the internet. They're starting to quote each other without telling us that.
Mm.
And so if one makes a mistake, it gets magnified.
Mhm.
A really interesting study was done where a professor, an IT professor, asked, it doesn't matter where it started, but let's just say it was Bard, to find an article written by him that he did not write. He knew
Mm.
it should have come back, sorry, that doesn't exist. Then Bard came up with this whole summary of it, and here's the, where it was published. Well, he wrote about that error, and then because he wrote about it, now then he noticed it was being picked up by Claude and Bing, and so now it's out there. He
Mm.
can't get rid of that falsehood now.
Oh my gosh.
So that's very dangerous. That means that people who intentionally want to give us wrong information have really easy tools to do that now. And it's getting harder and harder for us to tell the difference.
Yeah, I guess we should probably check to see what what AI is
Yes.
writing about us nowadays, especially folks that have like an online presence. So, Margie, can I ask you like kind of your opinion? And this is kind of a big question, okay? So, ever since I've been in this industry in L&D, I mean, I was told early on that that basically L&D is about 10 years behind in technology, behind everybody else, behind IT, behind sales, behind marketing, all of that stuff that everybody in the training department has to deal with, like, kind of older technology, and that's just the way that it is. Do you think, I mean, how do you think AI is going to impact that, or even just now, like whether or not AI is going to affect that level um or sort of make things more on equal ground for L&D?
Yeah, first of all, I think that is generally true. That's really why I wrote the book, AI and Talent Development, because
Yeah,
chatbots are already everywhere.
3 years ago.
Investment banking was using AI. There is a lot of AI in our daily lives, and the same was true a couple of years ago. And yet we didn't have access to those same tools, and they would have easily been adapted to learning use cases. Now, there's always exceptions. I work with the training departments of all the U.S. Armed Forces. Wow, they get AI. They've been using it in other ways, like to wage war. So it wasn't that big of a leap, and training is very important to them. They're an exception. They've got a lot of that going on. A lot of times we just don't either have the time, because learning professionals, and I don't know how the folks in the chat feel about this, we're overworked. We're underfunded, and a lot of times we just have to get the deliverable off our plate that's staring us in the face, and there's not a lot of time to develop our own skills, which is why TLDC is so important to me and to all the rest of us. So, I was happy that I met you early on and got to take advantage of all these wonderful programs. So that's a lot of why it happened. Now, I want to show you guys something that I think is really interesting, and this is going to probably jump into the rest of my talk, Louise. So is that okay?
Yeah, totally,
It
totally.
relates to your question. I'm going to share my screen and show you an article that just came out this week.
Cool.
According to Morgan Stanley, and you guys can look this up, I'll throw this in the chat. I just want you to look at the headline. More than 40% of the labor force will be affected by AI in the next 3 years. That certainly is going to apply to us. So, this is the article. So, we're going to be forced to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Those of us who don't catch up, eventually, we're going to fail to compete for jobs or promotions with people who do. Right. So it's not going to, we don't have 10 years to catch up. Mm-hmm. We have maybe a year before that's going to be a required skill, like prompt engineering, for example. By the way, there's already another generation of AI being developed that will go beyond generative AI. It's probably going to come out by the end of this year, which is soon, or early next. It's starting to be leaked. So, you just barely get your handle on what's happening.
Wait, Margie, you have to talk about that. What's this next generation? Because I don't know anything about it.
Some people are calling it interactive, and it might make possible something I'm just dying for, a true virtual assistant that talks to me, understands my schedule, makes sure I don't double book my calendar, weeds through the email and says, hey, these are people you probably ought to answer, because as you can imagine right now, my email is just blowing up. My calendar is getting really busy, and we're all that way. But for me, as a one-woman shop, it's hard to manage that. So to have an AI that actually talks to you in a spoken voice, which you can do today, but it takes, a few tools to do it.
Yeah.
And remembers you, and that you trust enough to give access to your files so it can really do work for you and only you, and it's not going out on the internet. That is and that it combines all the capabilities, so you don't have to have like Midjourney for images, Pictory for videos, 11 Labs. Some of those, if you guys want to see quickly, I use regularly and can talk to, but I have to cobble together 5 or 6 tools right now if I want to make a good video, for example. But I still save a ton of time doing that. Now they're talking about, now they know enough, thanks to us, those of us who use those tools, have given them feedback and have trained their tools. So we've been working for these companies, whether we realize it or not.
Wow.
And now they're going to be better, and they're going to be more integrated, basically. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, let me, I want to drop in. So the event that we had, it was a free event a couple weeks ago. And I just want to drop in the URL because I think you can still register and get in to watch the recordings. But unless you're a member, those I'm going to actually take down those recordings pretty soon, maybe on Sunday night or so, Monday morning. But here's the link to it. You should, if you haven't already signed up for that event, sign up for it and just, watch what you can. Try to get caught up, because I think it's just important to know, some of the tools that are out there, what the possibilities are. And this is specific to L&D processes and systems. So I think it really applies to a lot of the folks that might be in chat. So there's the link there. And if you remember, you can have access to the recordings indefinitely. I'll be sending a message out for all of that. But otherwise, try to, watch a few that are on there. It really is valuable stuff. And then I know, Margie, you had something that you wanted to share, just something you wanted to show us.
Yeah, I'm going to do just something real quick just to give you a few ideas, because I know this is, a quick update. Also, I threw my email into the chat. I'm also on LinkedIn. If you happen to watch the recording, I made a special offer to TLDC members. You can still take advantage of it. So if you
still available,
go ahead and write me, and I'll get it to you, because I have I hate this word actually, masterclass, but the people helping me market said that's what I should call it. But it'll teach you how to be more productive.
Can I post that link into chat?
Yeah, let me just grab the.
I had it in my
go ahead.
So I just posted it in there because I did look at it.
Okay, so let me just introduce you, if you don't know, how many people are working with Claude?
Personally, I was not using Claude until after the event. Now I've gone back and have started using Claude, but I'm still definitely more on ChatGPT. But I don't know if anybody in chat, if you're using Claude, go ahead and post.
Press about ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. I think Claude writes better, and it's connected to the internet. Now, it can still hallucinate, so you still have to fact check it. But I want to walk you through something I just did as a tiny piece of my masterclass. Is the term algorithm is real problematic. Everybody's using it usually in the wrong way. So I had Claude explain it. I got basically a rough draft. I tinkered with it a little bit, and I've just teed this up already. This is what I did. I just put in this prompt, and I got all of this text here.
Amazing.
Makes sense. One thing that you can do with that is maybe make a country song about why everybody is using this word wrong. I thought that would be fun. And I took sadness. It's a country song. So a song about, am I still sharing?
You're sharing, yep.
Okay. So a song about why the word algorithm is incorrect for AI. Whoop. "30 characters. Okay.
Do you have it in a different window though? Because I'm not seeing it update at all.
Oh, okay. You know what? I have to switch.
Okay. Oh, there you go.
All right. So this one is freshbots.org. You can have it generate in all kinds of different styles. Watch out for rap because then it swears. So I had that happen in our live AI showcase. You remember, Luis? So
I like how you call it swears.
Wow. 30 characters is really small. All right, so my topic. Oh, I had it typed in, but I didn't enter. Okay, I gave it some keywords. I gave it an emotion. Algorithm's not an emotion. Sadness is. All right, now it's generating. The other thing I'm amazed at is how quick these tools are. Now, while that's generating, let's show something else. And this is where we're going to use that. Oh, here it comes. Lost in the binary spray. I'm a traveler, lost. Misguided by cold code, my heart beats out. Tangled web of deception, sadness. So anyway, you get the idea.
Wow. Well, maybe let me grab a guitar and I can write.
Yeah. So, if you want to have some fun in a training class you design, maybe you want a country song to tell your message. Now I'm going to show you 11 labs. I love this tool. What this does is it'll make any kind of voice you want for voiceovers. And this is where we're going to share that file.
Okay. Hey, Margie, just real quick, the AI country lyrics one, is that one something that is plugged into, is it using like ChatGPT as the engine for generating that, do you know, or is it something that is completely separate?
A lot of times these apps are using some kind of language generator underneath. I don't know if it is GPT or something else. They repackage it with,
right,
GPT or whatever. For example, Bing is running ChatGPT.
Yes.
But what you're working with is Bing. So a lot of times you're finding that the underlying tool is in fact something else. So that's a great question and part of the awareness we should all have. So let's take a look at that 11 labs a little bit. Just because for me, voiceovers are so hard to get right. And people want my voice, but I make mistakes. So what I did is I taught this tool to mimic my voice, and it sounds like me with no mistakes to me. And I thought you guys would be interested. And so then I type in my script, I hit generate. This takes a little longer to run, but Luis and I did this before the session, and we have an audio file you can listen to and see what you think, and let me know if you think it sounds more or less like me. So how are we going to share that file, Luis?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah, let me do this. I have it as an audio file.
Yeah.
So you can email me, and I already put that in up here. And if for some reason you don't want to write me, I also sent it to Luis so he can share it with you, just so you can hear it. And that's another tool. And then probably one of my favorite is once I've used all these other things. So I've used Claude, I've used some kind of maybe images and so on, I can go and make a video. Oops, and I don't have my text copied. Let's grab my Claude text. So you see, there's still a lot of conscious work. It's not like an AI is making this. You, as the human, are making decisions. They're just a different kind of decision now.
Right.
So this would make a video. And again, that's going to take a while to generate. You see the little spinning. But, whoop, and again, I didn't share the tab. So now I'm in Pictory. So how easy this is. So I created a new script. I just called it algorithm. I pasted what Claude told me about that. And then I click proceed, and now it's working to create a video. So all of this just saves me a lot of time and makes me more productive. And I'm creating a lot more training content because I have these tools. So that's my main message, is don't be afraid of it. Jump in, start using it. It's really valuable to save you time. That's probably more valuable right now than some of the ways like we talked about, like as a counselor or a performance coach, only because that's much more complex and you have to be very careful of unintended consequences. It can certainly be done, but it might not be something you want to jump into unless you have more background and can do some actual coding and training and have a database. It's going to take you. So very possible, but the safe way to get into this stuff is with the tools. If that
when you're saying it made a video, it actually creates a video?
Yeah. Let me show you one that's been made already, because that one, it takes a little longer, but it makes a video. So let's see if I can just share. Okay, so these are various projects that I've made. So this one is half done. And so this is my script. I pasted that in there. This over here, the image choices and the text overlay, the AI did that. Now I'm in the middle of editing it. For example, I'm not wild about the naked guy that you see right there. It's a statue, but it's kind of questionable. But a lot of these are pretty good.
Is this a free account?
I started with a free version of Pictory and was using it so much that I now pay for it. You know me, Louise, I'm a one-woman shop. I don't pay for it unless I'm really convinced of the value. This is one I would invest in if you make a lot of videos. I think it does a very nice job of some of these. Like, for example, I'm going to move that text because I want to see the cute little birdie. So, you make decisions on the final look and feel. And you can even upload your own images. If you don't like anything, the tool comes out. But let's say I wanted to change that image. I could go over here to visuals and I could pick something different. So social connections. Maybe I pick that. Aw, how quick that was also. And now that's in my video. Now you see the watermark for getting images.
Yeah.
But when you download it, they all go away. When you finalize it, and that's true even of the free version. It's just that you can't create as many videos. I could look at it all day. So it will also give you can pick all kinds of different audio files, music, background music, or you can upload your own. And you can upload your own narration, or you can pick voiceovers. You have all these different computer-generated voices, and they are pretty good. And you can pick how fast it talks. You can do it in different languages, although I caution you with that. just, have somebody, if you don't know that language, be careful. But for example, I added my own audio files, which I made out of 11 labs, so I could use them in this course. So it sounds like me narrating, but it's me having been trained. It's an AI that's trained to sound like me that I created. So you can do that with visuals. I have special picture, like my picture, and special specific things I wanted to show. So these are all things that are uploaded for the purpose of that project. So you're not stuck with their library, but they do have a very good library. And if you want to get fancy, you can put some backgrounds in. I think it's a terrific tool.
How long does it take for it to render?
Depends on how much content it is, how much text.
Okay.
So I would say maybe about 5 minutes for a 10-minute video, maybe, longer for some of my longer videos. So it's definitely a tool worth trying. In fact, that one, let me just put that link in because I really think that one is worth everybody checking out. If I can I don't want to give you the link to my account, is why I'm just looking for the general one.
Yeah, I am. I'm looking at it right now because I actually have a script that I wrote for our next event, which is about Dungeons and Dragons and L&D.
Oh dear, no! Yeah. I just gave you my script. I did. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
But that's all right. Feel free to borrow it.
No, I love it. That's great. That's fine.
Yeah, I think it's just Pictory.com, but definitely if you search for Pictory. That's a cool tool. If you do nothing else, do that one. If you make videos at all, or you're thinking about it. So tell me about your video. What are you going to make?
Oh, well, it's just a script. It's like, so we have this event that's coming up that I'm really, I mean, it's kind of crazy, but I'm just very excited about it. We have a few speakers like Jonathan Rock and Christy Tucker, and Jon Stewart is in. Anyway, it is about using concepts from Dungeons and Dragons in instructional design. And so there's a whole backstory that I've been putting together that's associated with it. And I wanted to, ideally a video that would explain the backstory would be really, really helpful. So I'm going to run that through Pictory and see what happens. Because
it'll be real interesting. And I'm just looking now to see if they have any Dungeons and Dragons.
It doesn't look like in any of their templates, but you do have to just pick a template.
The template just tells you where the text placement is as a default.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So, and you can create your own templates, and you get to move that text around anyway. There is one image in their library under when you search for Dungeons and Dragons. So what you'll want to do, Louise, is upload, if you want to have more specific references to that experience, you'll want to grab some screenshots or images of your own and upload them so you can use them. But yeah, that would be fun.
Okay, just a quick one. Last question, Margie, and then we got to wrap up is, what do you think the future of L&D? Like, and you've been in this industry for a really, really long time. You know the impact that AI is having on L&D at this time. Like, what do you see like in happening next year, 3 years, 5 years? Any ideas?
I would say within the next 2 years, any kind of job description for an L&D role is going to specify AI and specific applications, just like now it might say you must know storyline. Mm-hmm. So that if you are expecting to continue to be employed in this field, that's going to be an expectation. I also think there's a huge opportunity to develop yourself as an expert in these tools now and market yourself that way and get a jump on that trend. And that there will be more specialty roles probably developed within L&D. I suspect that term instructional designer, which already, in my opinion, just my opinion, covers too much.
Yeah.
Companies, for what they pay, expect way too much technical expertise, and they get it because we have it.
Yeah.
But they get it at substantially less salary, which is one of the reasons why I went out and started my own business. Because if you're passionate about learning, you want to work in this field, and yet it has not historically been valued as highly as, say, an IT expert who works with many of the same tools. So I think it's a huge opportunity for us if we get on board to separate ourselves and to justify higher salaries and better working conditions and be valued for what we are. So that means positioning ourselves as consultants and experts and demonstrating that. So very long answer, but yeah, I think that's very soon. And that within 10 years, we will all just have an AI virtual assistant we think of almost as a companion. Again, that can be dangerous, but it can also be very helpful. Like, Luis, you're working on this project, you might ask that virtual assistant, if you had it today, can you help me brainstorm? Because a lot of times we work by ourselves.
Yeah.
So there are things you can do right now, with, say, ChatGPT to brainstorm. But if I have to check every piece of output from a tool, that's not a very useful tool for me. So I want the reliability to get better. I expect the industry to clean up those hallucinations so that we don't have to. And I think that'll help a lot.
Do you have any concerns about AI becoming the instructional designer?
There are some companies that have already laid off their parts of their training department because they mistakenly believe they can all be replaced by AI. So I think that's a legitimate concern. I'd like to think that they will realize the problem, but we're the talent. We're very much like the movie stars right now who are fighting this battle for their images, and the writers who are striking Hollywood because maybe they got a deal. Does anybody know? But
writers did.
Yeah. So so they can be properly compensated for their work and not merely copied. That's a real risk. And I think the only way you stay ahead of that is to become someone who is more skilled than the AI, who uses the AI, adds human input, and creates a better product. And if you can't do that, then you should be replaced. So let's not let that happen. And that's really up to us.
Yeah.
If we continue to develop our expertise and our value, and we're willing to fight for it, then I think we're okay. But from now on out, the rest of our lives, you're going to have to keep staying ahead.
Yeah.
And just like at one time you had to know the e-learning tools, and it got very competitive, and you had to learn those things. Captivate or Storyline, and by the way, they're all embedding AI now. It's the only way to stay relevant.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to be able to understand that and how those new tools work.
It's a crazy world we live in.
But a good one.
It's a good one. It's a good.
At the same time, AI is saving lives. It's discovering new planets. It's it's helping with climate change. So it can be a great boon to our society, and we just need to. Unfortunately, it caught us all a bit by surprise. Most of us did not.
Margie, I think you talked a little bit about critical thinking too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Please, let's get that in, because critical thinking is really the only salvation. It's the only thing humans have that the AIs don't have yet. We need to understand how to make the right decisions. So like when I showed you and I did that video, if I were someone with a different mindset, I might have just said, okay, great, download it, send that off to my client with a naked man on the first screen. Maybe not the right idea. I generated a rap song live because I wanted to experiment, and there were cuss words in there, bad ones. You know, if and those are just simple examples, but that's what critical thinking adds, is that reflection and judgment and
Mhm.
balance, and that's what humans do. Unfortunately, it's well documented that some people come out of school without those skills.
Yeah,
Skills are no longer teaching it. Businesses have to pick up the slack. Um, so we need to push for the schools to teach it earlier and often, and we need to reinforce it in business whenever we can.
totally agree. Yeah, I think critical thinking was one of the best things that came out of the English degree that I barely use, but
Me too.
yeah,
English degrees teach you how to think,
yeah,
and uh, anything, if you can still find those kind of social studies degrees, I found it to be great preparation.
excellent. All right. Well, Margie, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. I
Yeah.
really appreciate your support for TLDC and just being there. Just so that it doesn't get buried, everyone, here is Margie. Once again, I'll just copy and paste that link in for her workshop. And so that is in there. And just message Margie if you want to be able to jump into that one and still or take advantage of the discount that you're offering.
Yeah, so it's coming out later this month. It will be really focused on learning and development professionals, and I'm just sharing the page, the link that Luis gave you. And we're going to talk about things like, first of all, understanding the language, but then the real focus is how do you save time?
Yeah.
And so I'm on a mission to save us all time so we can focus on that critical thinking and the consulting and the things that only we humans can do, at least right now.
All right. All right. Thanks, Margie. And don't forget, everybody, I mean, higher up, we have that link to the AirMeet instance where you can still register for the AI Labs event that took place a couple weeks ago. So check that out if you can. We're going to be closing that platform soon. So you'll want to get in probably this
Yeah,
week.
there were a lot of great speakers.
They
That
were
was
just incredible. All the different tools and stuff. I learned so much. And thank you again for this picture. You're probably going to see a video that I'm generating from it
yeah,
at some point too, really, really soon. So thanks for that. And with that, everyone please have a great weekend. And we'll see you next week.
yeah. Thanks,
Bye bye,
everybody.
everyone.